Live from the Virtua Flyers Skate Zone in Pennsauken, New Jersey, this is the Tier 1 Hockey Federation Game of the Week, presented by Play by Play Productions. This morning, the Philadelphia Flyers Elite play host to the Skipjacks Hockey Academy. Thanks so much for tuning on in, folks. My name's Zach McGinnis. These two teams have played 3 games in a row against each other. All 3 have gone the Skipjacks way. Victories of 4-0, 3-2, and then again 3-2. This is the 4th and final meeting between these two teams this season. Coming into the game, the Philadelphia Flyers Elite have a record of 3 wins, 10 losses. They are 11th overall in the U18 division. For the Skipjacks, they come in with a 5-4 record. They are currently ranked 15th. Skipjacks in the blue uniforms with the silver and white trim. They'll skate from left to right on your screens at home. The Philadelphia Flyers Elite, well, they look like the Flyers out there. White jerseys with the orange and black trim as the Skipjacks begin the game in the offensive zone. Skipping it at the blue line is Jace Cranson, sent over to the near side corner. Looking to come up with possession is Mason Jackson. Jackson in the middle of a scrum. Eventually the puck pops on out. Ranieri at the point, sent one that went just wide of the cage of Nick Radcliffe, the starting goaltender for the Flyers. Radcliffe on a shot from the point, able to hold on, and the face-off will be to Nick Radcliffe's right. Radcliffe, the goaltender for the Flyers, comes into this game having started 9 games so far this season. He comes in with a personal record of 1 win and 8 losses, a goals against average of 4.2, and a save percentage of 88.9, as this is offsides against the Skipjacks. Remember, automatic offsides here at the 18U level as we play under USA Hockey rules. 17-minute periods, and everything else that comes along with that as well. Won't be able to ice the puck when you're killing a penalty. One of the newer changes, but something that fosters skill and development for these young players. From the neutral zone, it's sent in offsides, this time by Carter Lindsay, and we'll do it all over again in front of the Flyers bench. We mentioned Nick Radcliffe getting the start for the Flyers in today's game. In goal for the Skipjacks is Chase Brody. Brody, the Anchorage native, comes in with a personal record of 2 wins, 2 losses, goals against average of an even 1.0, a save percentage of 93.1 as Brody sees his puck battled for in the corner. Zhao pinching in from the point, could not come up with it. Last man back, Ryan Warner, able to keep it alive at the red line, sent on down into the Skipjack zone. Behind the net, Skipjacks struggling to get the puck out of the zone. Will Saunders up ahead. Had an option in Colton Booth, or check that, Aiden Engels. Turned over in the neutral zone, and the Flyers back into the offensive end. 100 seconds gone by so far in this game. Played on back by Ravitz, and the Flyers will regroup in their own zone. At the blue line, knocking that out of midair was Aiden Engels, but he was on the wrong side of the line. So offsides called against the Skipjacks. And the faceoff will come to the near side of the ice with 15-12 to go in the first period. Only 1 shot on goal so far, and it belongs to the Skipjacks. Colton Booth on the draw for the Jacks. Up against Luke Ravitz. Ravitz, the Voorhees native, not too far from here in Pennsauken. Off the glass, Flyers get it as far as the red line. Looking to move it up ice is Nick Wilson. Pass to the near side, goes off the defensive skates of Hurlburt, and now another deflection finds the puck go all the way down into the Skipjack zone. Played up ahead. Coming up with possession of the puck is Vincent Woodfill. Now into the zone. A pass in front, just out of the reach of Colton Booth. Booth plays back to the point. Wilson, his shot, deflects wide. Now Booth again. Tries going back to the far side point. That's poked out of the zone. Flyers able to work it in towards goal. And Chase Brody decides not to take any opportunities. Faceoff will be to his left. 14:27 to go in the first period. Both teams now recording a shot on goal. Skipjacks have 2. As mentioned, the 4th of 4 meetings between these two squads. You know the Philadelphia Flyers Elite will want to get the victory and at least be able to hold their heads high for that. Off the draw, puck is played into the near side corner. Jacks able to take possession, and they begin to turn up ice. Chasing after this is Engels. The Californian tried playing it back to the point, intercepted and sent down the ice by Oscar Danielson. This will go wide of the cage and not with enough mustard on it to draw the icing call. So looking to move up ice is Cranston. Cranston got it as far as the Flyers' blue line. D to D they go, and now Brent Rivard. Near side Levy. Levy gives back to Rivard, who was calling for it. He dummies that off the wall, can't maintain possession. And then the puck deflects into the Skipjacks bench. So the faceoff will come outside the Jack zone. Both teams will get fresh legs on the ice. 13:44 to go in the first period. Joey Rosselli on the draw for the Flyers. He wins it on back. Now Luke Resto from the red line. He'll skip one in on goal. Chase Brody having a nightmare or two as he's able to send that off the wall. Back the other way. This will roll in on Radcliffe. He'll play it off to the side. Resto wasn't expecting that. So now Resto in the middle of a scrum behind the net. Centering feed comes all the way out to the high slot. Jacks unable to take possession as Finelli from the blue line sends one that skips off the back of the cage. Looking to come up with it in the far side corner is Jack Wirtz. Wirtz is centering feed intercepted by a defensive stick. Skipjacks back the other way. Again, the puck rolls wide of the cage, and again, Radcliffe elects to keep it going. Sent over to the near side. Enzo Finelli from center ice sends one wide of the cage of Brody. Looking to come up with possession was Hudson Slanker. Turned over. Now Warner. Chipped near side Zhao. Zhao plays along further. Finelli in the corner takes a bump for his troubles. Loses possession of the puck. Loose puck picked up by Carter Lindsay, and Lindsay's able to play it up ahead towards the red line. Was looking for Jackson, who was streaking through the slot. Couldn't quite connect with him. Puck gets sent back into the Flyer zone, and now Matt Kramer. Near side, can't be controlled by Warner. Loose puck in the Skipjack zone, gets picked up by Lindsay. Plays along the near side wall, and now Derek Studler. Gaining speed through center ice. Studler tries cutting towards the slot. Picks up some help from Jimmy Thorpe, whose shot goes wide. Just about 5 minutes now gone by in the first period. Back to retrieve a loose puck. And sending one off the wall was Wilson. Poliak for the Flyers. Far side. Robert Skameka plays it as far as the red line. Miller picks up the loose puck, gives along for Poliak. Poliak then sends one that goes off the stick of Kramer. No, it does not go off the stick of Kramer, so icing called against the Skipjacks. 11:46 to go in the first period, and the face-off coming down into the Flyer zone to the left of goaltender Nick Radcliffe, who has stopped both shots sent his way. Cast of characters will remain the same for both these teams. Jimmy Thorpe on the draw for the Skipjacks. He shoots one on goal. Didn't quite get everything on it. Might have been handcuffed. It was going wide regardless. Flyers fling it down the ice. This will be another icing call against Philly. And we'll do it all over again in the Flyers zone. Well, face-off coming up in the Flyers zone at the Flyers skate zone. Don't get to say that every day. This is one of the official practice facilities for the Philadelphia Flyers. You notice the banners hanging on the wall behind the benches. Those are players who have been drafted into the NHL, who played their youth hockey here in Pennsauken. Names such as Caden Primo, goaltender for the Canadiens, Nolan Stevens, a forward for the St. Louis Blues. Most recently, Sam Lipkin and Tyler Boucher drafted in the 2021 draft. Lipkin drafted by the Coyotes, Boucher drafted by the Senators. 6 minutes now gone by in the first period as the Flyers regroup in their own end. Ravitz wanted to poke it into the zone on the second attempt, gave along for Hurlburt. Hurlburt looking to work it down deep. Puck skitters along the wall to the far side corner. Ranieri for the Jacks tried going up that same side wall. Studler had it knocked away. Pair of players for both teams try to dig this puck out of the corner, eventually coming up with it and looking up ice is Brennan Lindsay. Lindsay, the York, Pennsylvania native, cutting across the blue line into the Flyer zone. Drops on back. Taking the shot was Booth. It goes high. Looking to clear is Hurlburt. Got it at least over the blue line. Puck comes back into the zone, but it went off of a Flyers stick, so it's an onside play as the Flyers are able to get it out quickly. Jones from his knees at center ice. Nice hand-eye coordination as he was able to flip it along for Hurlburt. Hurlburt unable to control the pass as he goes off for a change. From center ice, Ravitz will send it down deep. He'll complete the change for the Flyers as on the forecheck for Philadelphia is Matthew Devine. Taken over by the Jacks here. They come back the other way. Riblet knocked off of his stick. Now Danielson into the zone. Good defensive play by Carter Lindsay, able to break that up. From the neutral zone, it slipped down deep behind the cage of Radcliffe. Radcliffe able to play it on back. Luke Resto there to pick it up, and now Resto will retreat to the relative safety behind the net, quickly smoked on out. But the Flyers still able to come back the other way. Here's Ryan Warner. Across the line, knocked off of his stick. Levy at the blue line sends it back on down. Return pass. Warner eventually has the puck on his stick. They'll wrap it hard around the wall to the far side. Levy, the first one there, swiped off of his stick neatly by Carter Lindsay. A shot goes wide. Danielson couldn't come up with it. Flipped out of the zone. Trying to get on his horse and race through the defense is Woodville. Instead taken away by the Flyers and Yitian Zhao. Sent back down into the Skipjacks zone with 8:55 to go in the first period. Neither team recording a shot in the past few minutes. Here is Zhao. The defenseman sends over far side. At the blue line, Finelli bounces off a check. Roselia's shot is blocked before it ever got through on goal. Carter Lindsay getting in the way of that. Lindsay then gets double teamed behind the net, turns the puck over. Two shots on the side of the cage by Wirtz. Both of them stopped by Brody. Zhao tied up on the far side wall. Can't hold the puck alive in the zone. Ryan Warner back to retrieve. Warner gets around one forechecker, chips off the wall to get around to second, and Roselli will send it down deep. 8:15 to go in the first. Turning on back into the near side corner is Jace Cranston. Cranston, however, unable to get it on out. Philadelphia can't take advantage of the nice keep at the blue line by Robert Skimeka, and so here come the Skipjacks the other way. Gloved on down by Nick Radcliffe, and then some pushing and shoving afterwards as looked like it was Derek Studler who was getting a little too close for the Flyers defense to appreciate. And even 8 minutes to go in the first period, and the faceoff will be in the Flyers zone. I didn't check that. That was Alex Armstrong who was in front of Radcliffe and drew the Flyers' ire. Alex Armstrong, a native of Orchid Park in New York, hometown of the Buffalo Bills. Not sure if the Bills are home today. As a New York Jets fan, I'm not used to having to pay attention to who's playing who this late in the season usually. Up ahead, racing into the zone is Devine. Devine, his centering feed, could not connect with Kramer. Skipjacks trying to get it out of the zone. They will. And Armstrong from center ice sends it down deep. No icing on this play as Poliak reverses for the near side and Kramer. Kramer sends one into the skates of Ethan Miller. Turned over, back into the Flyers zone. Again, no icing on the play as Poliak. Once again for Kramer near side. Kramer chips along far for Ethan Miller. Miller from the red line will send this one wide of the cage. No icing on the play. And so Will Saunders of the Skipjacks has to play it. Saunders had the puck knocked off of his stick. Coming up with it is Hurlburt. Shot gets blocked by Saunders. Rebound goes all the way back up to the blue line, and that shot goes wide. Now Hurlburt once again in the corner. Digging for it is Cranston. Cranston finds an option in Jimmy Thorpe. Thorpe sends over far side, and now through center ice is Studler. Studler plays on back Cranston. Off the stick and out of play as Engels could not control that pass. Face-off will be between the blue lines. 6:43 to go in a scoreless first period. Always a nice thing about hockey early in the morning. I was talking about this with our producer today, Chris Markowitz. You get to watch hockey early on, and then you turn on the football games. And luckily for us, in Week 14, there's no games being played over in Europe. Here is Ravitz sending it back down deep. It's a problem with those European games. Getting up 9 o'clock in the morning to watch football just seems too early. Early morning hockey, however, well, it's always a good time for hockey. Hurlburt picks up the puck inside his own zone. He's able to get it over the blue line. Following up on the play, gets around all three forwards of the Skipjacks, and now up ahead It's William Hurlburt on goal, gloved by Brody. He'll hold on with 6:19 to go in the first period. Shots now even at 3 apiece. Besides, as a parent at home, you get the kids on the ice early, you get all that energy out early on, and then maybe they go to bed on time. Ravitz on the draw, up against Colton Booth. One back to the point. Resto will chip it down deep. This goes around behind the net. First one there to pick it up is Carter Lindsay. Lindsay then runs into a couple forecheckers, still able to work it out of the zone. And Colton Booth through center ice. Drops on back for Riblett. Matt Riblett, his shot gloved by Radcliffe. And the faceoff will be to Nick Radcliffe's right. We're not seeing either team really drive to the front of the net yet. It's these long-range shots that these goaltenders are talented enough, if they can see it all the way, odds are they're going to stop it. 5:59 to go in the first period. Resto, near side Jones, and now it's Hurlburt sending one in on goal, scooped up by Chase Brody. And after we have a few minutes of steady play, now the whistles are coming fast and furious. Referee Ariel Gold telling these players to knock it off, as Luke Ravitz was in a spirited conversation, I believe, with Jace Cranston. Either way, everybody stays out of the sin bin, and the faceoff will be to Cody, or Chase Brody's left. Now off the draw, trying to work it on back. It was Riblett. Riblett gets stripped of the puck. Now in the corner. Flyers able to take possession. Danielson sees this, gets sent over to the near side. Yichi and Zhao pinching in from the point, applies the pressure. Two players for both teams once again trying to come up with possession of the puck. Eventually it's Zhao who flips it out of play. Curious to see where the faceoff comes, if that went off of a skipjack stick or not. Looks like it'll stay in the skipjack zone. So 5:27 to go in the first, and the faceoff to Chase Brody's right. Brody on the roster listed from Anchorage, Alabama. Not sure if there's an Anchorage in Alabama. We'll have to check that out between periods. Sent in on goal from the wrong side of the red line. No icing on the play as Brody had to play it. Reversed on back, and now Cranston. Up ahead, can't connect with Armstrong. Off the line, trying to send it forward was Warner. Warner in his own end, worked up along Danielson, and now the Flyers might have an opportunity, but Nick Wilson able to cancel things out on the far side wall. Everybody back in the defensive position they need to be in with 4:45 to go in the first period. Worked along the near side wall. Here's Levy from the blue line, swinging one wide of the cage. Loose puck picked up by Wilson. Wilson, his outlet pass. Nice job by Levy to knock it away. Levy centered in front, deflected by Ravitz. Getting a piece of it was Brody. Another shot. Ravitz on the near side. Can't pull the trigger. Warner at the blue line. His shot ricochets wide. Ravitz behind the net, able to pick up the loose puck. Sent in front off the glove of Brody into the near side corner. First one there, and reversing it back behind is Mason Jackson. Flyers buzzing here. 4:08 to go in the first period. Sent behind the net. Finally, Nick Wilson has a little time to think things over. He'll flop it up ahead. It lands on the red line, and the Flyers regroup. Finelli up ahead. Rosselli back into the skipjack zone. Finelli, the first one there. He's watched closely by Vincent Woodfill, fresh off the bench. Sent over to the near side. Rosselli plays back to the point. A weak shot as that partially deflect. Actually, Robert Skimeka had his stick fail him. So Chase Brody able to clamp a glove on top of that. Faceoff will be to his left. So 3:44 to go in the first period. Shots on goal even at 4 apiece. And the big question is, what town is Chase Brody from? 3 minutes, 40 seconds of game time. We'll get to find out if there is an Anchorage in Alaska, or rather in Alabama. Meanwhile, back here in New Jersey, it's Poliak up ahead for Finelli. Finelli sending the puck down deep. First one to it is Carter Lindsay. Lindsay had a stick slashed out of his hand. Referee Ariel Gold says play on. 3:20 to go in the first period. Flyers looking to come up with possession. Digging for it on the far side is Rosselli. Rosselli Gives on back to the point. D to D they go, and now Poliak. Poliak, a shot on goal. Knocked aside by Brody. Behind the net, Finelli with it. Finelli looking for an option, has Wirtz on the near side, instead loses possession of the puck. Will Saunders there to take advantage, but he can't clear. Pinching in from the point is Rivard. Rivard knocked off of his stick. Now Slanker looking to move up ice. Rivard quickly sends him into the wall. Near side, Carter Lindsay finds an option in Brennan Lindsay. Not sure if there's a relation between the two. Carter Lindsay listed from Indianapolis, Indiana. Brennan Lindsay from York, Pennsylvania. York, Pennsylvania used to be the home of the Mason-Dixon Collegiate Hockey League playoffs. The MDCHA was an ACHA Division III conference that lasted for about 20 years. Had teams such as Loyola University out in Baltimore, George Washington, based out of Washington, D.C. In its final form, had teams all the way up in Pennsylvania like Alvernia College, Dickinson, Gettysburg. UMD had a team in the MDCHA. Now everybody has kind of been amalgamated into the College Hockey Federation, which was established a few years ago. Icing called against the Skipjacks, so the faceoff will be to Chase Brody's left with 2:13 to go in the first period. Shot from the point, knocked down by Brody. Puck is loose on the edge of the crease. Now Brody able to get a glove. No, not able to get a glove on it. Luckily, he has a defenseman nearby who's still able to get the puck out of the zone. Rivard now at his own blue line, coming up with possession of the puck and sending one to the slot with Studler. Skipjacks maintain possession. They haven't spent too much time in the offensive zone in this second half of the period. Under 2 minutes to play in the first. Up ahead, that ricochets off the skate of Matt Kramer. This might be enough for icing, and there's the whistle. So, $1:42 to go in the first period, and an offensive zone faceoff coming up for the Skipjacks. Skipjacks will keep the same 5 skaters out on the ice. Jimmy Thorpe, the Texan center, on the draw. False start against the Flyers. Skipjacks will decline the yardage and will do it all over again. Sent over to the near side wall. Jones able to get a stick on it and get it as far as the red line. Now a loose puck at center ice. Gets collected and chipped into the zone by Engels. Under 90 seconds to play in the first. Chipped off the wall. Jones able to direct it on out. Ravitz plays on back. Jones. And now Ravitz once ahead. Luke Ravitz sees this shot go into the glove of Chase Brody. Faceoff will be to his left with $1:12 to go in the period. Philadelphia now with 7 shots on goal. So 1:12 to go in the first period. Played back to the point off the faceoff win here. Zhao, a shot gloved by Brody. Yitian Zhao with the kind of shot that every coach loves to see from the point. A hard, low shot a few inches off the ice. Shot like that is very tippable, and Zhao sent one that was earmarked for the back of the net, if not for the glove save by Chase Brody. Skipjacks off the face-off win, send it all the way down the ice. Not enough for icing, so forced to play it is Ryan Warner, the Maple Glen, Pennsylvania native. Reverses back behind the cage. Through center ice they come. Jaden Jones lost possession. Warner could not come up with it. Now here come the Skipjacks. 4-on-1 across the blue line, but overskating the puck was Sebastian Kiley. Flyers able to take advantage. They come back 3-on-1 into the offensive zone. Pass too far for Ravitz. Eventually he's able to take it off the board. Sends one that gets caught up on the side of the cage. Brody might have it underneath him as well. But the faceoff will be to Chase Brody's right with 34.9 seconds to go in the first period. Excited to find out which anchorage we're talking about here. I imagine there are places for ships to anchor in Alabama, but usually that's known as Mobile Bay. Face off to the right of Chase Brody. Either used to Gulf Coast weather or, well, snow. Off the draw, Skipjacks send it all the way down the ice. This won't be enough for icing as Robert Skimeka has a new twig in his hands. Skimeka from behind his own net, knocked down behind the cage. 18 seconds to go. Skimeka playing from his knees, trying to come up with possession. 14 seconds to go in the period. Back at the point. Shot fanning on it was Ranieri. Worked on down once again. Kylie, 5 seconds left, goes back up to the blue line. Cranston, a shot, gloved by Radcliffe. He'll hold on. 1.7 seconds to go in the period. Let's see if Chase Brody gets called to the bench in favor of the extra attacker. The Skipjack coaching staff is talking about it. Patrick Jarrett and Alec Freiberger. They elect to keep Brody in goal, and that'll do it for the first period of play. Hey, there's the horn. So at the end of one, it's Flyers nothing, Skipjacks nothing. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll have the second period of play. You're watching the Tier 1 Hockey Federation Game of the Week, presented by Play by Play Productions. Welcome back to the Virtua Flyer Skate Zone in Pennsauken, New Jersey. Second period of action about to get underway between the Philadelphia Flyers Elite and the Skipjacks Hockey Academy. Through 17 minutes of play, the Skipjacks and Flyers are tied. You're watching the Tier 1 Hockey Federation Game of the Week, presented by Play by Play Productions. Two questions that we need answered. Or rather, one question: who's going to score the first goal in the game? One question that we did get answered: Chase Brody, I assure you folks, is from Anchorage, Alaska. If we're talking Anchorage, Alabama, the closest thing that can refer to is Anchorage Street in the town of Northport, north of Tuscaloosa. It's about a quarter-mile long, and, well, I don't think that they're going to list the street that Chase Brody grew up on. So the Alaskan goaltender off to our right, Nick Radcliffe, remains in goal to our left. And finally, we have our first power play of the morning coming on up, just 37 seconds into the second period. Getting checked from behind in the corner was Joey Rosselli. Luke Resto goes to the box for Philadelphia, and he'll sit 2 minutes for cross-checking. So 16:23 to go in the first period, or rather in the second, and the Skipjacks on the first power play of the morning. Sent all the way down the ice, icing called, and we'll do it all over again to Nick Radcliffe's right. A four-man, 3-woman officiating crew this morning here in Pennsauken. And it's good for the players at this level as they look to continue their hockey careers. As at the junior level, they still play with one ref and two linesmen until the playoffs. Shot from the point, kicked aside by Radcliffe. At the collegiate level, you'll usually see the four-man system employed, and obviously it's what the NHL and all professional leagues use as well. Skipjacks working along the blue line. A shot from the point gets blocked. Radcliffe able to come up with the rebound all the way back up at the blue line. A shot on by Cranston, gloved by Radcliffe. And the face-off will remain in the Flyers zone. 1:23 to go on the power play. 15:46 to go in the second. Shots on goal at the end of the first period were 9-6 in favor of the Flyers. The Skipjacks have already recorded 2 shots on goal in the first minute and 14 seconds here in the second. Controlled off the draw by the Jacks. Given on back Studler. Studler at the blue line. Nice move. Maintains possession. Sends down low. Angles. Tried to send one to Kiley in the slot. Kiley got knocked down for his troubles. Hurlbert loses possession, and the puck skitters back into the Flyers zone. Offsides is the whistle. And the face-off will come out right in front of the Skipjacks bench with $1:03 to go on their power play. So 1:03 to go in the first power play of the morning. Both teams will get some fresh legs on the ice. On the draw is Jimmy Thorpe, and he's able to win it on back. Here's Ranieri. D-to-D for Nick Wilson. Wilson will pick his own number, and he'll drive up ahead into the Flyer zone. Wilson, puck on his backhand, looking to center. Skimeka on top of him. Centering feed eventually comes out the far side of the cage. It's blocked by Radcliffe. Puck comes all the way back up to the point, where now Nick Wilson controls once again. Tossed over near side, Riblet sliding along the wall. Sent one off the stick of Radcliffe. A shot gets blocked. Getting in the way of that was Oscar Danielson. Wrapped around the near side wall. This will go down into the Skipjacks end. No icing on the play, and so it has to be played by Nick Wilson. Hard around the wall. Flyers in the middle of a change. Skimeka able to intercept a cross-ice pass. He finds Hurlbert across the blue line. Knocked off the stick of DeFulvio. DeFulvio trying to come up with possession once again. Instead, it'll be Warner chipping one off the wall, and then Warner deflects a shot right in front of Nick Radcliffe. Those two might need to have a discussion during the intermission. Luke Resto out of the penalty box. We're back to even strength hockey. 14-18 to go in the first period. Hudson Slanker can't come up with possession. DeFulvio sends back down deep. Slanker again will try going up the far side wall. Getting in the way of that was Matt Kramer. So now near side, Slanker again. Riblet pinned against the wall. Worked along further, Ranieri. Jimmy Thorpe trying to clear, cannot. Flyers take possession, and then in the slot, having the puck go over his stick was Matt Kramer. From the blue line, it's wrapped around the wall by Riblet. Shot from the far side wall, off the stick of Thorpe, easily handled by Radcliffe. Chipped off the wall, and now Ryan Warner can't get the puck out of the zone. It's Woodfill from the far side, flinging one towards goal, scooped up by Radcliffe. Face-off will be to Nick Radcliffe's left with 13:31 to go in the second period, and shots on goal now even at 9 apiece. Pretty even game between these two squads. As to be expected when two teams face each other 4 games in a row. You figure after game 3, you get somewhat used to each other. The Skipjacks, however, are not done with their diet of Flyers. Skipjacks' next game will be Saturday, December 17th, as they will face off against the Philadelphia Flyers elite prep team at Grundy Ice Arena over in Bristol, Pennsylvania. Worked along the wall. Eventually, it's DeFulvio for the Flyers, sending over to the near side. Miller tries to slice that out of the zone. Getting in the way of that was Carter Lindsay. Sent back down into the near side corner as the clock ticks past 13 minutes to go in the second period. Everybody pushing and shoving. Eventually, the puck gets sent down the ice. It's sliding over the goal line just barely to get the icing call. 12:53 to go in the second, and the face-off will come back down into the Flyer zone. One advantage, playing at this level, you're still allowed to change off of an icing call. I was playing in college when the rule came out that you couldn't change, and, well, the conference adopted that one very quickly. That was not a fun transition to deal with. Corey Levy on the draw for the Flyers. He goes up against Sebastian Kiley. On a 50-50 draw, Kiley comes up with the victory, sends it back to the point. Shot by Ranieri goes wide. Alex Armstrong behind the cage, wanted to go back to Ranieri at the point, intercepted by Ravitz, and now Luke Ravitz will flip this one in on goal. Blocker to side by Chase Brody. Flyers set up in the offensive end. Resto at the blue line. He sends down low where he finds Ravitz. Ravitz doesn't have an option in front of the net, sends it there anyway. Unable to get there was Jaden Jones. Puck kept alive at the blue line. Here's Levy's taking it away. Levy, a backhand shot swallowed up by Brody, and the faceoff will be to Chase Brody's right. 12:17 to go in the second period. Face-off remaining in the skipjack zone, and they'll send out a new offensive line. It'll be Derek Studler, Jimmy Thorpe, and Aiden Engels up front. Stepping in for the draw is Thorpe. He goes up against Corey Levy. Levy has Ravitz in a shooter's position, wins it on back. Ravitz, the shot kick saved by Brody, and he holds on. Flyers could not have drawn that up any better. A clean face-off win by Corey Levy, a quick shot on goal by Luke Ravitz, and throwing out the left leg was Chase Brody, the Anchorage, Alaska native. If you ever get a chance to visit the 50th state, I highly recommend it. Really just the atmosphere, the environment up there is something that quite simply you don't get down here in the continental 48. Plus, you go at the right time, you get to see the sun get close to the horizon, never truly sets, although my favorite little bit of Alaska trivia does not involve Anchorage, but rather the other side of the train line, the only train line that's available for passenger service in Alaska. It goes up to Fairbanks, located in the middle of the state, as this one goes through the crease. But in Fairbanks, there is a collegiate baseball team that plays over the summer, and on the day of the winter solstice, they have their game of the Midnight Sun. First pitch scheduled for midnight, and the stadium lights never have to come on because the sun hangs out in the sky. Imagine that, the sun. You're playing a baseball game, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're doing it in daylight. Definitely an adjustment. 11:05 to go in the second period. Rosselli for the Flyers, knocked away from him. Wirtz, however, able to work it up ahead, and now it's Rosselli once again. Rosselli, centering feed, nobody home, wearing a white jersey. Alex Armstrong on the near side half wall. Worked on back, Kiley chips over far side, through center ice. Able to get a stick on it, but not possession was Finelli, as it's sent on down deep by Armstrong. Skipjacks in the middle of a change. Played up ahead by the Flyers, waiting for that at center ice is Wirtz. He gives back for Rivard. Rivard wanted to give it back to Wirtz. That went off of a skipjack stick. And then the clearance attempt is easily handled by Wilson. Now up ahead and on a breakaway, taking the shot and getting stymied by the blocker of Nick Radcliffe was Aiden Engels. Probably the best offensive opportunity so far in this game for the Skipjacks Hockey Academy, as this gets sent off the boards right in front of the Skipjacks bench. Skipjacks coaching staff diving for cover. Rivard behind his own net. Played along for Finelli. Along further, chipping it off the glass for Philly is Joey Rosselli. Rosselli sees Wirtz up ahead. Resto battling for it. Rosselli, once again, this time will flip it on down. He was on the correct side of the red line, so no icing on the play. 9:40 to go in the second period. DeFulvio plays down low, centering feed, goes off the side of the cage. Play continues as this puck comes all the way back to the point. Poliak. Now Skimeka. Skimeka on goal, gloved by Brody, and he'll hold on. And again, that's what we were talking about before. If the goaltenders can see it all the way, odds are they'll stop it. Both teams need to do a better job of getting traffic in front of the net. Also, that shot by Robert Skimeka, higher than you'd like to see if you're part of the Philadelphia Flyers elite coaching staff. You want that shot to be low to try and generate a rebound. Everybody loves going up high, as the kids call it these days, going bar down ski. Not sure why they call it that, but they do. And yeah, sure, it generates pretty-looking goals, but there's a reason why those are the exception. Offsides called against the Flyers, so the faceoff will come outside of the skipjack zone with 9:18 to go in the second period. Shots on goal, 12-9 in favor of Philly. So off the draw, it's sent down deep by Miller. First one there for the Jacks is Brennan Lindsay. Lindsay reverses near side, trying to chop it out of the zone is Riblet. Unable to get around the defense of Robert Skimeka, who sends one around far side. Kramer at the far side half wall. Can't get it down deep. Loose puck battled for. Eventually the Flyers come up with it. Quick shot by DeFulvio. Flutters its way just wide of the cage. Centering feed in front. DeFulvio stop. He scores! On the rebound, Richie DeFulvio. 1-0 Philly. For DeFulvio, just his second goal of the season, his 8th point of the year, or check that, his 7th point of the year. But Richie DeFulvio able to come up with a loose puck in front of Chase Brody. Brody made the initial save but could not corral the rebound. And with 8:50 to go in the second period, we have our first goal of the game. Flyers lead it by 1. Off the ensuing face-off, it's controlled by the Flyers once again. Chipped down deep. First one there is Carter Lindsay. Lindsay pinned up against the wall by a pair of forecheckers. Centering feed, unable to come up with it is Danielson. Skipjacks looking to clear. Instead, Devine had it for a moment. Loose puck picked up by Hurlburt, and Hurlburt will send this one in on goal. Chase Brody doesn't want to take a chance. Face-off will be to his left with 8:28 to go in the second period. Still awaiting the official scoring on DeFulvio's second of the year. As off the draw, this gets sent around far side. Activating at the blue line is Zhao. Zhao in the corner, picks up some help from Danielson. Puck pinned up against the wall by the Skipjacks. Eventually, it's Hurlburt coming up with it. Shot goes well wide. Warner coming in from the near side blue line will send it back down deep. Danielson gives on back for Warner. Warner leaves it behind the net. Hurlburt. Hurlburt turns away from pressure. Wanted to get back for Warner. Getting in the way of that was Engels. At the red line, it's knocked off the stick of Studler. And then getting knocked down behind the play was Aiden Engels. He's slow to get back up to his skates. Play continues, and the referee's arms stay down with 7:40 to go in the second period. Zhao plays it off the official's skates. Now plays along the wall. Coming up with possession of the puck was Slanker, only for a moment, however, as it's played out towards center ice. Offsides called against the Skipjacks, and the face-off will come outside of the Flyers' end with 7:28 to go in the second period. Our only intermission and resurfacing of the ice will be at the end of this period, so for you folks at home, you'll get a chance to cut open and toast a new bagel. That happens to be your thing. If you are getting bagels, make sure it's from the New York, New Jersey area. That stuff in the store, it just doesn't taste right. Must be something in the water. Sent down into the Flyers zone. Getting turned around was Rivard. More pushing and shoving in the corner. Rivard, a couple shots to the face of Hudson Slanker, and that's going to draw the referee's attention. Slanker, I think, is going to end up in the penalty box as well. And he might have a case here, as the only thing Hudson Slanker did was not react to Brent Rivard with a couple rabbit shots to his face mask. So it looks as though we'll remain 5-on-5 with 7:12 to go in the second period. Well, the official usually gets the retaliation penalty. In this particular case, there was no retaliation. Faceoff will be in the Flyers zone to Nick Radcliffe's left. Radcliffe has stopped all 9 shots sent his way. It'll be Matt Riblet on the draw, the Johnstown, Pennsylvania native. Perhaps he goes to Johnstown Tomahawks games of the North American Hockey League when he gets back home. The arena in Johnstown, the first Summit Arena at the Cambria County War Memorial, was the filming location for a little movie called Slapshot. For you kids at home who have never seen it, you're probably a little too young. For your parents, you understand. Nice old barn that they have out in Johnstown. A lot of history there. Backhander weakly towards goal, gloved by Radcliffe. Face-off will be to his left. Speaking of the North American Hockey League, they just announced their 29th team and 8th member of the Eastern Division. It will be the Rochester Junior Americans, playing out of Rochester, New York. They are the owners of the Rochester Junior Americans, are the owners of Wegmans Supermarkets. Francois Matheau has been named the head coach. Associate head coach is Stanley Cup champion and 2018 U.S. Olympic team captain Brian Giunta. His brother Steven Giunta, who also played in the NHL, has been named as the director of player development. Looks like a real strong organization, joining the only USA Hockey sanctioned Tier 2 league, as a shot from the point is gloved by Brody. Face-off will be to Chase Brody's right with 6:17 to go in the second period. Brody has done a good job of controlling his rebounds. The one time he was not able to control the biscuit, it resulted in a goal. He has stopped 13 of 14 shots so far in this game. It'll be Ethan Miller, or check that, Luke Ravitz on the draw for the Flyers. Off the draw, this gets wrapped around to the near side wall. Matt Riblett looking to flip it up ahead. Finelli at the blue line keeps it alive. Now Rosselli tries giving back for Wirtz. That pass fails. Skipjacks able to clear. Goes off the boards. No icing on the play as it's turned back the other way by Warner. Now at center ice. Off the wall, Carter Lindsay. Turned over. Here comes Rosselli on in. Rosselli had the puck roll off of his stick. Looking for the poke check was Chase Brody. Turned out to be not needed. 5:45 to go in the period. Puck directed out towards center ice. Back to retrieve for the Flyers is Jack Wirtz. Wirtz for Zhao. Zhao gets thrown up against the wall. Center ice flipped on down by Colton Booth. And Radcliffe shoos away the puck to the far side wall. Now reverse behind the net. Warner knocked down to the ice. Zhao. It's been a physical shift for Etienne Zhao, but the Flyers still able to get the puck out of the zone. Enzo Finelli from the red line. He plays off the wall. Too far for Wirtz to handle. Chase Brody will play it around far side. Centering feed could not connect in front with Finelli. Puck played by a high stick. Now the Flyers able to touch it, so the play continues. 5 minutes to go in the second period. Loose puck in the Flyers' end. Wirtz tried sending one towards the cage. Getting in the way of that was Carter Lindsay. Lindsay off the wall. DeFulvio nearly able to come up with it. Now Warner at his own blue line. Up ahead for Richie DeFulvio. DeFulvio turned around at the blue line. Back the other way. Riblett got it into the Flyers' zone, but not with possession, as Warner is able to reverse near side for Robert Skimeka. Now Warner again. Right in front of the Skipjacks bench. Nearly gets dumped into the bench by Riblett. And then a shot to the head of Riblett is going to draw a penalty. 4:24 to go in the second period. Ryan Warner can't believe that he's going to the box, but he most assuredly is. So the question's going to be, how long of a penalty will this be? The officials will huddle up in front of the scorer's table. Richie DeFulvio respectfully keeping a little distance. He wants to hear what's going on. 4:24 to go in the second period. Skipjacks about to go on to the power play. Roughing will be the call. Ryan Warner disagrees with it, but his opinion is moot as he's playing on the ice. Two minutes on the board against Warner, and, well, also in the box for the Skipjacks is Matt Riblett. So perhaps the officials in the stands who said that Riblett held on to Ryan Warner were correct. No penalty time up on the board. They're talking over exactly what the penalties are going to be. And it's possible that Ryan Warner has picked up an extra 10-minute misconduct. That was the signal that was shown. Meanwhile, we can tell you, earlier in this period, Richie DeFulvio, his second of the year, assisted by Ethan Miller and Matthew Kramer, time of the goal at 8 minutes and 50 seconds. So now let's find out what penalties get called here. There's 4:24 to go in the second period. Riblett does receive 2 minutes for holding. Back the other way they come as getting upended in the neutral zone. For the Skipjacks was Jace Cranston. Cranston now back onto his skates, can't complete the check. Cranston sends it back into the zone as a physical play is starting to pick up between these two teams. Familiarity breeds contempt as this one comes from the slot. A shot goes over the top of the cage. Kramer, he's able to pitchfork one that goes off the Skipjack, or rather somebody on the Skipjacks bench. Face-off will remain in the Flyers zone. As we've said before, these two teams are in the middle of their 4th game in a row against each other. And you know, you play 4 games in a row, the centermen at this point are aware of each other's tendencies, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses may happen to be. Perhaps the pests of these two teams getting to know each other. I don't know, after 4 games in a row, do you still have new jokes that you can come up with? There's only so much chirping you can do. 3:58 to go in the second period. Flyers get scolded for encroaching onto the face-off dot. Off the draw, it's flung out of the zone out towards center ice. Nick Wilson retreating further into his own end. Tries playing up ahead to the red line. We have a whistle. And let's see what penalties arise out of this. I believe it's going to be Colton Booth going to the penalty box. Let's see what the call is with 3:40 to go in the second. Flyers have somebody in the box. I believe that's Luke Ravitz. Or perhaps it's Sam Poliak. Meanwhile, a Skipjack has been sent to the box as well. We'll get their number as soon as we can, as backup goaltender Jack Shapiro is standing on up. And the benches here at the Virtua Flyers skate zone, not the largest, so both backup tenders today. Jack Shapiro for the Skipjacks, Kyle Osgund for the Flyers. They've been hanging out in the sin bin. Got to keep it occupied somehow. 3:35 to go, and we remain 5-on-5 as this shot gets sent wide. Officially, it'll be Poliak in the box for the Flyers. Colton Booth for the Skipjacks. Both receive 2 minutes for roughing. Flyers back in their own end. Here's Luke Resto. Played up ahead. Rivard. Now Warner. Knocked off his stick. Hurlbert there to pick it up with 3:10 to go. Played up ahead, can't be completed with Devine at the red line. Into the zone, it's Armstrong. Try dropping on back. Puck skitters its way back out towards center ice. Nick Wilson plays off the wall, and into the zone, Armstrong sends it down deep. Chippiness has picked up a notch once again. Hurlbert gives up ahead Rivard. Rivard over the Skipjacks blue line into the zone. Rivard fights off a stick check, drops on back for Danielson, who sends one in on goal. Brody able to make the save. 2:43 to go in the second, and the Flyers holding on to a 1-0 lead. They are out shooting the Skipjacks by a 16-9 margin through this point in the game. They have limited the Skipjacks to only 3 shots on goal in this period. Well, the other advantage of the 4 official system, more guys in stripes to break up anything going on after the whistle. Face-off to Chase Brody's left. On the draw, Levy wins it on back. Skimeka D-to-D across. Quick shot from the point, punched aside by Brody. Turnaround shot flutters over the top of the cage. Getting to it and reversing behind the net, Carter Lindsay. And now able to collect is Cranston. Cranston couldn't get it around Jaden Jones. Puck pops into the near side corner. Jack should be able to clear as this is flipped off the wall. Directed towards the center of the ice by Studler. Nobody wearing a blue jersey around to take advantage of that. Now Jimmy Thorpe can't get it deep into the Flyers zone. Zhao sends it back the other way. No icing on the play. Loose puck picked up by Carter Lindsay. Lindsay sends one that goes between the Flyers' D. Skimeka has to pick it up at the red line. Skimeka then plays off the wall. Levy gets it into the zone. Lindsay quickly back for the Jacks. And now Cranston with 1:45 to go in the second period. Cranston sends this one that's just out of the reach of everybody over the goal line, but icing waved off at the last moment. So having to play the puck is Robert Skimeka. He'll go behind the net for Zhao. Zhao up along further, and now up ahead is Enzo Finelli. Finelli comes near side Wirtz. Wirtz gets around the D. Wirtz on goal, saved by Brody. The rebound comes all the way out to the blue line. Flyers in the middle of a change. Both defensemen were out of position. It's a 3-on-1 the other way, and a quick shot knocked aside by Radcliffe. And Jimmy Thorpe had a 3-on-1 and elected to shoot it himself. 1:06 to go in the period. Here come the Jacks, 3-on-2 across the blue line again, making 4-on-3. Trying to dipsy-doodle his way towards the front of the net, and taking the shot was Brennan Lindsay. But Radcliffe, equal to the task, he holds on for a face-off coming up to his left with 58.8 seconds to go in the second period. Again, these teams will head to the locker room at the conclusion of this period. We'll take a timeout, about 15 minutes or so. Not sure if these teams have orange slices waiting for them in the locker room. Would be nice if they did. Free oranges. It's nice. 58.8 seconds to go, and a face-off to Nick Radcliffe's left. Stepping into the draw is Joey Rosselli. He'll go up against a fellow number 12 in Colton Booth. Rosselli with the face-off win, chipped off the wall at the blue line. Jack's able to keep it in the zone only for a moment. Now Finelli sends it down deep with 47 to go. Behind his own net, Ranieri turns the puck over. Centering feed ends up on goal. Brody able to stick it aside. Finelli, or check that, Rosselli behind the net. Rosselli tries giving along Finelli. Looking to get in the way of that was Riblet. He does. And at the red line, getting turned around, is Brennan Lindsay. Lindsay couldn't get the puck into the Flyer zone. 22 seconds to go in the period. Rivard knocks down that clearance attempt. At center ice, chipping one off the wall is Thorpe. No icing on the play as this rolls wide of the cage. Radcliffe thought there was an icing call coming. That's why he stayed in the blue paint. 8 seconds to go in the period. At the blue line, Jacks keep it alive. Ranieri, perhaps time for one last shot. He can't pull the trigger, and that will do it. So, through 2 periods of play, it's the Philadelphia Flyers Elite 1, the Skipjacks Hockey Academy nothing. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll have the first and second period scoring summary along with the third period of action. You're watching the Tier 1 Hockey Federation Game of the Week, presented by Play by Play Productions. Welcome back to the Virtua Flyer Skate Zone in Pennsauken, New Jersey. This is the Tier 1 Hockey Federation Game of the Week. Through 34 minutes of play, the Philadelphia Flyers Elite have a 1-0 lead over the Skipjacks Hockey Academy, courtesy of Richie DeFulvio's second goal of the season. Thanks again for tuning on in, folks. My name's Zach McGinnis. Flyers in the whites going from right to left. Skipjacks in the blues going from left to right as we are underway in the third period of play. Flyers have dropped 3 in a row to this Skipjacks team. Through 34 minutes of play, they have outshot the Jacks by an 18-11 margin. Loose puck at center ice. Skating into it was Brent Rivard. Rivard can't get the puck down deep, getting knocked down to the ice for the Skipjacks was Jace Cranston. Cranston has had a more physical game sent his way in the second period. All the way down the ice. No icing on the play as trying to send it towards the front of the net was Engel's shot. Saved by Radcliffe. The rebound, he gets that as well as Derek Studler had an opportunity between the hash marks. But a nice job by Nick Radcliffe. He knew that he gave up the rebound, but he quickly pushes off with his left skate and stays in the butterfly to make the save. Face-off will be to Radcliffe's right with 16:13 to go in regulation time. It'll be Sebastian Kiley on the draw. He goes up against Richie DeFulvio, the only goal scorer in this game. False start on the draw. Second attempt, we're able to play on. Shot gets kicked aside by Radcliffe. Rebound goes off the mask of Radcliffe, and he's able to get a glove on it and secure the whistle. Well, Nick Radcliffe using his size to his advantage. The 05 birth year, 6'3", 175 pounds. Big goaltender wearing the orange and black. Smaller goaltender might not have been able to get that with his head. And again, I'm not sure Radcliffe really tried to get it with his helmet, but you know, we're past the days of goaltenders not having any protection. Sharp angle attempt goes off the side of the cage. Now Miller, centering feed, gets intercepted. Radcliffe, or check that, DeFulvio, could not come up with possession of the puck. Chipped off the glass by Ethan Miller once again. This time can't get it around Carter Lindsay. Lindsay tried playing up ice. He wanted to connect with Jackson. Instead, it's sent on down into the Jacks end, where Chase Brody sends over far side. Now near side, Carter Lindsay. Lindsay turned around at his own blue line, sends it in front of the Jacks bench. Fresh onto the ice and getting the puck into the zone's Matt Riblett. Near side, Riblett had the puck roll away. Flyers and Jaden Jones able to work it up ahead. Now it's a 3-on-2 for the Flyers. Jones gives back Warner. Back for Jones, a shot. Stopped by Brody, and he holds on. As Jaden Jones was looking to go through the 7-hole underneath the glove of Chase Brody. Nice job by Brody to hold his arm in tight against his body. Make sure nothing leaked on through. You saw that kind of nightmare fuel in the NHL last night in a game between the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs. I believe it was Noah Hannafin of the Flames who took a shot from a bad angle. Matt Murray, the goaltender for the Maple Leafs, thought he made the save. He did not. The puck bounced, or rather trickled out behind him and just over the goal line. Losing his stick on the play is Chase Brody. Skipjacks would be well served just to let the puck stay in front of the net so that Brody can get a glove on it. Instead, they'll chip it out of the zone. Brody thinking about going after his stick. It's about 8 feet away from him on the far side of the cage. Here's Robert Skimeka. Can't get the puck back into the zone. Skipjacks at center ice will finally send it on into the Flyers' end, and Chase Brody able to retrieve his lumber. 14:20 to go in regulation time. Skipjacks in the offensive zone. Here's Vincent Ranieri. His shot went off the side of the cage. Might have hit the post. Now working on in for the Jacks was Brennan Lindsay. Lindsay near side. Ranieri on goal. Deflected out, or rather into the glove of Nick Radcliffe. And the face-off will be to Radcliffe's left. Robert Skimeka would like to have a word with Brennan Lindsay. Not sure if it's a philosophical conversation or not, but the face-off will remain in the Philadelphia zone as those two are separated by the officials. 14:01 to go in the third period. Philly still clinging to the 1-goal lead. Off the draw, controlled by the Flyers. Resto goes far side. William Hurlburt sends one that goes above the cage. Resto, the first one there. He's able to work it behind the cage. Hurlburt could not come up with possession of the puck, and then Hurlburt and a skipjack still tangled up with each other. That's going to draw the officials' attention. A little more pushing after the whistle. And with 13:40 to go, the penalty box will have a population higher than just the backup goaltenders once again. Again, 4 games in a row between these two teams. You get tired of each other eventually. Vincent Woodfill to the penalty box for the Skipjacks. He'll sit 2 minutes for roughing. So we get to see the Flyers on the power play. It's the first time that the Flyers have gone on the power play in this game. They lead it 1-0. Joey Rosselli on the draw for Philadelphia. Off the draw. Chipped off the wall. Nice job by Warner at the point to keep it alive. However, his return pass can't be completed with Rosselli. So now shorthanded. Skipjacks into the zone. Trying to come up with it is Kiley. Unfortunately for him, he lost possession of the puck. And now it'll be Ethan Miller. Sent over far side with some room, Ryan Warner. Warner over the blue line. He'll chip it down deep. 25 seconds gone by on the power play. Behind their own net, Skipjacks able to send one off the glass, and then shorthanded nearly with the breakaway was Mason Jackson. Nick Radcliffe comes out of his cage to play it up ahead, and now the Flyers will have an odd man rush into the zone. They can't complete the passing play, and it ends up at center ice. Now here's Jackson again, shorthanded. Jackson fans on the shot. First one there is Warner, and he runs over Mason Jackson. Comes up with the puck as well. Minute to go on the Flyers power play. Trying to corral a bouncing puck was Wirtz. This one rolls in on goal. Brody will hold on as Jack Wirtz couldn't exactly settle that puck down. Face-off will be to Chase Brody's left. 12:35 to go in regulation time. 56 seconds to go in the Flyers' first power play of the morning. Or check that, of the afternoon now. And welcome to the sunnier side of the day. Off the draw, controlled by the Flyers. Skimeka at the blue line. He goes over far side where it connects with Rivard. Rivard gets the puck back from the corner. Can't hold the line this time. So he retreats as far as the red line. Skimeka puts it into the skates of Jaden Jones. And now Jones from center ice has 4 forwards, or rather defenders, to deal with. Drawing off sides was Luke Ravitz. And the face-off will be in front of the Skipjacks bench with 37 seconds to go on the Flyers power play and 12:17 to go in the third. Flyers putting up 1.5 shots for every shot that the Skipjacks generate. Shots are 21-14 as off the draw. This is slapped into the zone by Rivard. We have a whistle and a penalty coming up against the Skipjacks. Slashing will be the call. Heading to the penalty box is Jace Cranston. And already up by 1, the Philadelphia Flyers elite are going to go on to a 5-on-3 power play for 31 seconds. 12:10 to go in the third period. It's never a good time to find yourself down 5-on-3, but for the Skipjacks trailing by 1, the timing couldn't be much worse. It'll be Sebastian Kiley, the only forward on the ice for the Skipjacks on the draw, controlled by Philly. Here's Skimeka, top of the circle, slides down low. DeFulvio gives back Skimeka, now over far side Rivard. Rivard had trouble corralling the pass. He'll chip it down into the corner. Ravitz there to pick it up. Ravitz then sends one that goes off of the official's skates. Skipjacks trying to take possession. Jones able to work it on out. Turned around by DeFulvio off the post. Ravitz gets bumped by Kiley. Soccered on back to the point. 5-on-3 has expired. Flyers still on the power play for another minute and 25 seconds. Not able to find the back of the net and double up their lead with that 2-man advantage. Now Richie DeFulvio, who has the only goal in this game, leaves the puck along for Luke Ravitz. Ravitz along for Rivard. Rivard back for Ravitz. A shot stopped by Brody. The rebound loose on the side of the cage. Still loose. Skipjacks able to clear it on out. No icing on the play as that went off of a Flyers stick. 11:10 to go in regulation time. A minute to go on the Flyers' second power play of the game. Officially, they are 0 for 1. Long pass goes off the stick of Ravitz, negates any icing call. Far side corner, it's Nick Wilson. He'll play one that also goes off of the official. Loose puck pops on out. Gloved on down at the blue line by Warner. He keeps it alive in the zone. Now Miller, a big drive, goes wide. Sweeping it up ahead, Mason Jackson. Got it at least over his own blue line. Now picks up some help, and working it down deeper is Hudson Slanker. Slanker near side corner. Gets bowled on over by Miller. Play continues as Slanker slow to get back up to his skates. 20 seconds to go on the power play. Here's Rosselli. Gives along Kramer. Kramer a shot. Punched aside by Brody. Behind the net now. Ravitz, or check that works. Can't come up with possession. Sent out of the zone by Slanker. He'll go back to the bench. 3 seconds to go on the power play. And the Skipjacks Hockey Academy dodges a bullet. They kill off a 5-on-3. They kill off 2 penalties back-to-back, and they trail by 1 as this clock ticks past 10 minutes to go in the third period of play. Luke Resto sends the puck in offsides. Face-off will be outside of the Skipjack zone. 9:56 to go in the third. Off of that extended power play, and again, a 5-on-3 for 31 seconds. Philadelphia only able to generate 2 shots on goal. It'll be Corey Levy on the draw, the Margate, New Jersey native, and goes up against Colton Booth. A whistle, another penalty. 9:46 to go in the third. Tripping will be the call. Flyers up by 1, but now find themselves. Well, actually, who's going to go to the box? Does my 3-year-old say? I don't know. Let's find out. It's going to be Colton Booth going to the box. So now the Skipjacks find themselves on the kill once again. Not what they need as they trail 1-0 with 9:46 to go in the third. Flyers 0 for 2 with the man advantage with 2 shots on goal. Off the draw, it's Rivard. Gives along far side Skimeka. Make that shot number 3 as it goes off the shoulder of Chase Brody. Cleared out of the zone. Won't have enough for icing as Rivard plays at his own blue line. He'll swing it along off the stick of Jones. Skipjacks get onside, and from the blue line sending one to the side of the cage was Chase Cranston. 25 seconds gone by on the power play. Outlet pass rolls off the stick of DeFulvio. Slicing it back into the zone is Studler. Now Ravitz. Pressed up against the wall. DeFulvio back in position. He can't come up with it. Trying to chop it on out for the Skipjacks, but unable to do so was Cranston. Getting turned around was his defensive partner, Will Saunders. Now Rivard at the blue line for Skimeka. Skimeka shot knocked down in front. Rebound attempt getting in the way of that was Cranston, as Cranston is in a bit of pain. Skimeka, D-to-D across for Rivard. 52 seconds to go on the power play. Down low for Jones. Tries to play it along for the backdoor play. Waiting for that was Ravitz. Jack's finally able to clear. This puck will come in on goal, so no icing on the play. Radcliffe leaves it off to the side of the cage. Skimeka run into the wall by Cranston. Cranston forechecking as a defenseman on the penalty kill. Sent in front, and getting a piece of it was Radcliffe. Matt Riblett with a good opportunity. 20 seconds to go on the power play for the Flyers. 8 minutes to go in regulation time. The Flyers not showing a sense of urgency, and why not? They lead 1-0. Here is Wirtz, centering feed, loose puck in the slot, bouncing around a few times. Eventually coming up with it is Wirtz, tries to work it back to the point. Intercepted, but then overskating the puck, Mason Jackson. He's able to still swing it up ahead for Sebastian Kiley. Kiley now with a pair of defenders to deal with as we're back to even strength hockey. Kiley knocked off of his stick, wrapped around far side where it's picked up by Carter Lindsay. Lindsay at the blue line, tries giving along for Wilson. Wilson from the half wall, sends one through the slot, it goes wide. Mason Jackson Reverse is on back. Now Lindsay at the blue line again. Near side Wilson. Wilson on a delayed call coming up against the Flyers. Chase Brody to the bench in favor of the extra attacker, and the Skipjacks will maintain possession as Lindsay retreats back to his blue line. 7:08 to go in the third period. Delayed call against the Flyers. This is swung back, and if it had enough, that might have actually crossed the goal line. Now Kylie gives along for Nick Wilson. All this on the delayed call still. This is banged hard around behind the net. Finally coming up with it is Sam Poliak. 6:49 to go in the third period. And we'll get to see the Jacks on the power play once again. So let's see what the Skipjacks can do. Trailing by 1. Going to the box is Ryan Warner, one of the important penalty killers for the Flyers. He will sit 2 minutes for interference. 6:49 to go in the third. Sent out of the zone. Oscar Danielson, shorthanded, will chase after us. Danielson gets beaten out of the puck by Jace Cranston. Now played up ahead for Mason Jackson. Jackson had a fantastic opportunity shorthanded moments ago. Then the slot, a shot, getting a piece of it with the blocker was Radcliffe. And Philadelphia deciding not to check there. Now near side Jackson. Top of the umbrella, a rising shot by Cranston gets knocked down. Never got through to Radcliffe. Now Cranston moving on in. His shot catches nothing but glass. A whistle as the net has come off of its moorings. Looks like Radcliffe might have taken a stick to the side of his body as well, as everybody kind of collided in front of his net. 6:08 to go in the third period. 1:19 to go in the Jacks power play. Skipjacks on their third power play of the afternoon. Or check that, their fourth. Or no, it is their third power play of the afternoon. One penalty was listed twice. Hate it when that happens. They're 0 for 2 so far. They've only generated 3 shots on goal on those 2 power play opportunities. Reversed on back. Waiting for the puck to get to him was Riblet. But getting to it first was Rosselli. He's able to send it on down into the Jack zone. Under 6 minutes to play in regulation time. A minute to go on the Skipjacks power play. Over the blue line, it's Brennan Lindsay. Slid along Wilson. Wilson, a shot. Getting a piece of it was Radcliffe. Worked on back to the point. Vinny Ranieri. Wilson, far side. Now Ranieri near side. Ranieri, a shot gloved by Radcliffe. Rebound loose on the side of the cage. Cleared up but not out. And then we have a whistle as once again the net has come off of its moorings. Faceoff will remain in the Flyers' end with 5:25 to go in the third period and 37 seconds to go on the Skipjacks' third power play. Nick Radcliffe has been generally solid. That last shot, however, came out of his glove and the rebound was left in a very dangerous area. And it's a team game. And the Flyers' defense able to bail out their goaltender. Off the draw, it's controlled by the Skipjacks. Here's Cranston with a drive. That missed wide. Big hit thrown in the corner. Derek Studler using all 5'6" of him to throw the body. Now near side, here's Engels. Gives back to Cranston at the point. Cranston wants to go far side. He does. Coming up with possession is Mason Jackson. His slides along further for Studler. Now near side once again Cranston. Cranston gets below the goal line behind the net of Radcliffe. Under 5 minutes to play. Jace Cranston doing it all himself as the power play expires. We're back to even strength hockey. Centering feed goes through the blue paint and wide. Flyers look to turn up ice. They might have a 2-on-1. It's Richie DeFulvio stopping at the top of the circle and then absolutely leveled as running him over is Sebastian Kiley. That's going to draw a penalty. Now with 4:35 to go in the third period, the Skipjacks to the box for the 4th time in this frame. Going to the penalty box is Sebastian Kiley. He'll sit 2 minutes for roughing. So 4:35 to go. The Flyers going on to their 4th power play of the afternoon. They are 0 for 3 but have generated 4 shots on goal. Face-off will be down in the Skipjack zone to the right of Chase Brody. Sebastian Kiley with a big hit, but just perhaps a little too much on that, according to the officials. As really the dangerous part of that play was the fact that Richie DeFulvio was in no man's land, just a couple feet away from the boards, probably the most dangerous area to get checked. So off the draw, puck skitters into the near side corner. 6 players trying to battle this one on out. Puck still remains against the wall. If you're the Flyers, you have no complaints about this, as time is on their side. Kramer behind the net now. Kramer once again in the near side Zamboni corner. He'll send over far side. Wirtz wants to go back to the point, gets it there. Warner sidesteps one attacker, sends it back down low. First one to it for the Skipjacks is Carter Lindsay. He can't clear. Now near side, Miller a shot, didn't miss by much. Rosselli was in front of the net providing the screen. 3:50 to go in regulation time, a minute 10 to go on the power play. Here's Warner a shot that goes wide. Miller's coming in from the blue line, wants to go behind the net, maintains possession of the puck into the far corner. Now dropped along, picked up by Wirtz. Wirtz could not maintain it. Ethan Miller able to jump up into the air, sent back into the zone, too far for Wirtz, but enough where Will Saunders has to play it. Saunders comes over near side. Jackson tries to flip it out of the zone. DeFulvio sends it back the other way. 40 seconds to go on the power play, 3:15 to go in regulation time. Here's DeFulvio, giving on back Rivard. Now DeFulvio again near side corner. On goal, stopped by Brody. Rebound keeps things alive. Rising shot off the glove of Chase Brody, and the faceoff will be to his left with 3:05 to go in the third period. Well, the Flyers generating some offense, but most importantly for Philly, just keeping the puck down in the Jack zone. They lead 1-0. They don't need another goal. Of course, you try telling a hockey player not to score, and they'll laugh at you. But again, as long as the puck's on this side of the red line for Philadelphia, everything's going their way. At the blue line, kept alive by Rivard. He sends it down deep. DeFulvio sends over to the near side for Jaden Jones. Jones had the puck roll off of his stick right into the slot. Ravitz took a shot. That was blocked. Flipped out of the zone by Cranston. He chases after it as far as the Flyers' blue line. Now Poliak reverses back the other side. DeFulvio sends it in on goal. Brody leaves it off behind the cage. Vinny Ranieri pays a physical price as he works the puck into the far corner. 2 seconds and one, we're back to even strength hockey. Finally realizing that he can get out of the box is Sebastian Kiley, and now we play 5-on-5 with 2:25 to go in the third period. Loose puck behind the net, picked up by Ranieri. He'll send one off the wall. That finds its way out towards center ice. Mason Jackson wanted to quickly give it along for Kiley. Pass was not completed at the blue line. Nice little move by Vinny Ranieri to get into the zone. Now Ranieri in the far side corner wants to go back to the point. At the half wall, it's knocked on down by DeFulvio. DeFulvio can't move it any further. Luke Resto will give it a go, and this goes all the way down the ice for an icing call with an even 2 minutes to go in the third period. Philadelphia did not record a shot on goal on that last power play. They are 0 for 4 with the man advantage in this game. And now a timeout has been called by the Skipjacks, and so they'll talk things over. We'll take a short timeout. You're watching the Tier 1 Hockey Federation Game of the Week, presented by Play-by-Play Production. Welcome back to the Virtua Flyer Skate Zone in Pennsauken, New Jersey. My name's Zach McGinnis. 2 minutes to go in the third period. The Skipjacks trailing Philadelphia 1-0. Chase Brody on the Skipjacks bench. Extra attacker on for the Jacks as they look to tie. Off the draw, it's controlled by the Jacks. Sent towards the cage by Studler. Knocked aside by Radcliffe. Out towards center ice. This is Wirtz all by himself. Tries one-handing one towards the front of the cage. Closed off by Cranston. Wirtz still doing some work from the blue line. A shot getting blocked in the way, or rather in the way of that was Ranieri. Now Zhao for the Flyers. Jackson sends it down deep. 90 seconds to go in regulation. Flung all the way down the ice, wide of the cage. Icing called against the Flyers. And a face-off coming up in the Philadelphia zone with 1:25 to go in the third period. Again, these two teams playing the fourth of 4 games against each other. Skipjacks coming into this game riding a 3-game winning streak. Those 3 wins, or rather a 4-game winning streak. Those 3 wins coming against the Flyers and a 3-1 decision over the PAL Junior Islanders. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Flyers 75 seconds away from their first victory since October the 2nd against the Rockets Hockey Club. Looking to snap a 7-game slide. Final minute of play. Skipjacks need 1 to tie. Centering feed off the big paddle of the stick of Nick Radcliffe. Unable to come up with it was Wirtz. Now in the far side corner, it's Brennan Lindsay. Played back to the point. D to D they go. Ranieri gives on back Cranston. Cranston goes far side Studler. Studler back in front. A shot gets blocked. Never got through to Radcliffe. 40 seconds to go. Cranston able to eagle turn his way. Sent in front. Goes through the blue paint and wide. Now Ranieri gives on back to the point. Jimmy Thorpe sends over far side. Studler controls. Big drive by Cranston. Didn't get everything on it. It goes wide. 23 seconds to go. Pinning the puck up against the wall and hoping that more time runs out is Zhao. That killed off only a second or two. Played on back. Studler, a shot. Gets deflected wide. 12 seconds to go. Sent towards goal. That goes wide as well. Now Ranieri. 6 seconds left. Plays back Cranston. Cranston, his shot stopped by Radcliffe. Rebound is loose on the side of the cage, and that will do it. The Philadelphia Flyers elite avenge their last 3 games. They defeat the Skipjacks Hockey Academy by a score of 1-0. So the Flyers will see things improve in the standings. They are now 4-10 on the season. For the Skipjacks Hockey Academy, their record will fall to 5-5. Nicholas Radcliffe picks up the shutout, his first of the season, as he stopped all 20 shots sent his way. Goaltender Chase Brody stopped 24 of 25, but it was not enough. The only goal in the game came back in the second period at the 8:50 mark. Richie DeFolvio, his second of the year, assisted by Ethan Miller and Matthew Kramer. The Skipjacks will be in action again on, or rather tomorrow. No, let's take a look at the schedule again. Skipjacks will wrap up. Oh, you know what? It's always fun when things start changing on you. Let's try this one more time. Skipjacks will be in action again on Saturday, December the 17th, as they face off against the Philadelphia Flyers Elite Prep School. For the Philadelphia Flyers Elite, they will be done for the rest of 2022. Their next game, Sunday, January the 15th, against the Mercer Chiefs Premier Team. So, for everybody on the technical side of things with Play-by-Play Productions, our producer today has been Chris Markowitz, and I'm Zach McGinnis saying so long from the Virtua Flyer Skate Zone in Pennsauken, New Jersey. Flyers 1, Skipjacks nothing. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you again real soon.